Now we talked about the two different types of relationships, the one-to-many and one-to-one. Here I want to talk about the many-to-many, which by the way, Access doesn't support many-to-many relationships. In other words, it doesn't support multiple records in one table corresponding to multiple records in another. For this example, I've got these two tables where in the employees table, I can have the employee ID duplicated because the same employee can be working on two different projects, and there's the project ID. In the project table, I can have, well, I got duplicate project ID because I can have different employees working on the same project. So you can see the mix-up, the problem that I have when I want to relate these two tables together, because that would create a many-to-many relationship. No unique fields. Well, to get around that, what we want to do, well, let me show you. Come up here, click on the Database Tools tab, go to the Relationships group. Let's open up the Relationships window. Let me click and drag that over to the side. I want to create a junction table, an intermediary table, where it involves, or I can add, the ID from both tables. So in this table right in the middle would include the employee ID from the employees table and the project ID from the projects table. Now between those two fields I won't get duplicates. Sure, we'll have duplicate employee IDs because you can have one employee working on many projects. And sure, in the project ID field I can have duplicate IDs there, but between the two it won't allow duplicates. Let me show you. Let's go ahead and create this junction table so we can create the relationship between these two tables by coming up here, clicking on the Create tab, go to the Tables group, click on Table Design, dumps me in the Design view here, and let's add those two ID fields from those two separate tables. Employee ID, hit the Tab key, and make sure it has the same data type. In other words, right-click the Employees table, go to the Design view, it's got the same data type as that field, the Employee ID there, because when we link them, if it doesn't have the same data type, well, it's not going to work. So back to Table 1, and then the next field, Project ID, hit the Tab key. The project ID in the projects table also has the same data type text. Now, to prevent duplicates, not just in one field because there's going to be duplicates in this field and duplicates in that field, but between the two, go ahead and hover over to the left-hand side, and we learned this in Level 1. In other words, selecting two or more fields and adding a primary key to it. But to select those fields, go ahead and hover over on the row header until my pointer turns into a black arrow pointing to the right, and then click and drag it down to select both fields. Come up here on the Design tab to the Tools group, click on Primary Key, and whenever you add a primary key to two or more fields, it turns it into a composite key, where between those two or more fields, there can be no duplicate, well, between the combination of those fields. So like I said, Employee ID, I can have Employee 1 listed many times because maybe Employee 1 is working on different project IDs. I can have Project ID listed several times because maybe I have many different employees working on that same project, but between the two, it becomes a composite key where it says, okay, sure, you can have Employee 1 working on Project ID 1, but you can't have that again between the two fields, like in the second record, Employee ID 1 and Project ID 1 listed again. That's where it prevents the duplicates between these two fields, okay? When I'm done, let's go ahead and save the table. Come up here, click on the Save button, give it the three-letter prefix, TBL, Assignments, hit Enter to accept it. Now, once I create the table, before I can create the relationship between the employees table to the assignments and the project to the assignments, linking the foreign key fields to their primary key fields in this table, I don't have any records in here, I just have the fields. So if I click on the View button, just the fields, no records. What I want to do then is I want to create an append query, which we learned in the Access Level 2 training video, where we can add the fields data from these two fields of the two tables to this new third junction table that we just created. So to do that, let me go ahead and close out of the assignments table and also the employees. Well, let's close out of all this. Yeah, we'll save the layout and close out of that table as well. Let's create that query by coming up here, clicking on the Create tab, going to the Queries group. Let's click on Query in Design. Bring the Show Table window up by clicking and dragging its title bar. And let's go ahead and add the employees table, double click. Go ahead and close out of here. Then from the employees table, I could have done it with the Project ID table. Just come up here, double click on the employee ID to add it to the grid below. Double click on Project ID because those are the two fields that are in our junction table that we want to add the records to. So if I click on the View button, here are all the records here. Go back to the Design button, and then once I saw it in the datasheet view and I'm like, okay, it's got everything I need, let's go ahead and take these records and append them or add them to that third table here, the assignments. By coming up here on the Design tab to the Query Type group, click on Append, and it says, okay, what table do you want to append these to? Well, it's the Assignments table. Click Okie dokie. Then down below it updates it. It adds the Append To row, as we learned in the Append Query training video. All we need to do is go ahead and click the Run button. Click on Run. It's about to add 25 rows. Are you okay with this? Say yes. Now, why is it giving me an error? Well, as you recall, in the table here, there are some empty fields, which is a violation to append those records to the assignments table. So it looks like 4 records won't be added or appended of the original. So do you want to run the action query anyways? Say yes. Let's go ahead and close out of here. I don't want to save it. Open up the table assignments. We have everything added to it. No empty fields. Like when I open up the employees table here, we've got some empty fields. In other words, Max Klinger, who's not working on any projects right now, and these others as well. And then, by the way, look at this. Oh my gosh, we got duplicates here in the employee ID field. Isn't this a primary key field? Again, it's a composite key, so between the two, there are no duplicates. So 12 can be listed many times, but it can't be matched up with the project ID, so it's 12 and 800 and 12 and 800. That would create a duplicate. It could be 12 and 900. In any case, you want to watch the next training video because we need to restructure the 2 tables because in these 2 little buggers here, we've got duplicate data, and we need to make this the primary key field, which now we can make it the primary key field because it'll be duplicated over here in the junction table. In other words, we can have 12 listed many times, but between the 2 fields, we can't have duplicate data like 12800, 12800, 12800, okay? So that's how we go ahead and restructure it, is by assigning the primary key to the employee ID, and in the projects table, assigning the primary key to the project ID. Again, we're going to have to restructure it because it can't have duplicates, so I'll show you how we can go ahead and do that and eliminate the duplicates and be able to have 2 clean tables before we create the relationship by adding a primary key to the project ID in that table, employee ID in the other table, and linking them up to their corresponding IDs in the junction table. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.